Aboro aboye. I was talking to my oldest son a little earlier, and he made a really interesting and astute observation about what it means to engage with members of the African American community, and he summarized it as this really large family with a lot of dysfunctional traits that's going to take a lot of time and a lot of effort to massage out and smoothen out. And I say, yeah, I agree with that. I like that. And it has brought me to the conclusion where I am today, which is a lot of the solutions to those problems, however, they're not explicitly therapeutic. So it's not that all of the problems that we have are going to be solved by sitting down and talking about those problems. I'm angry about this. My feelings are hurt about that. I feel cheated about this. My self-esteem is this way because of that. That's not necessarily the way to solve the problem. That may be a good way to diagnose the problem and assess where you are. Hey, this is what I'm grappling with. But the solution to that problem is something much more practical. The solution to that problem is starting a bank, is building a school, is starting a business, is owning a home. Not only owning a home, but partnering with other African Americans to own multiple homes in an area and take over a neighborhood, and then take over a school district, right? And have that kind of influence. That's the real healing process. That's where the therapy is going to come in. And let me explain to you why that is and what I mean. When you're just dealing with your feelings and you're focused on your feelings, that's all that matters is your feelings. And you think that the more you focus on them, the closer you're going to get to resolving those feelings. But when you're trying to resolve those feelings just for yourself, and you're looking at the person that you're working with or who you're talking to, and it doesn't have to be your spouse or your brother or your sister, it's just another black man or another black woman, right? When you're just looking at them as another individual, then the way you're going to hash out your feelings and work through your feelings is going to be different from looking at that person as an individual who is a gatekeeper to your success. When you can have experiences with that person that create a value for that person that is indispensable to your life or to the lives of your children or the lives of your spouse or the lives of other people in the community, that, you know what I'm saying? You may have a need to be honest with that person. You may have a need to express how you feel about that person or how that person makes you feel, or, you know what I'm saying? You may have to be totally raw and transparent with that person. Yeah, but you're still going to do it in a very particular way when you know that person is indispensable to your success, right? And that is the key for the overwhelming majority of African Americans, because if you look around, most of us work for other people. Very, very few of us are independent. Most of us are getting our daily sustenance from people other than ourselves, right? Our food, clothes, and shelter, even though we are working for them, we're all being held accountable by people who are outside of our community, which means we're perpetually compromised, right? And we're constantly trying to, control for what's going to make the other group of people or the other person happy at the expense of working with or, of the other brother or sister, right? So when it comes down to it, I'm feeling all this energy and I'm facing off with this black person in front of me. I'm going to be a lot more careless with that person than I am with the person who I pay my mortgage to or I pay my rent to, right? I'm going to be a lot more careless because that person has the black person, even though I need that person ultimately. I know that my true investment ultimately is in that person. What's going to happen tomorrow, it requires that I depend on the guy I pay my rent to. So I'm gonna be more conservative with the outsider, and I'm gonna be more reckless with my brother or my sister. You see what I'm saying? And that is why I'm saying we need to be more invested in the real engines that drive our culture, the real engines that drive our day-to-day life, right? As we're more collectively invested in those things, then we're going to be more controlled with one another because we need one another. That's really big picture. When it boils down to OrisaLifestyle, you can see the exact same dynamic play itself out, though, because if you depend on the Cubans for one thing, and you depend on the Nigerians for something else, and you depend on the Brazilians for another thing, right? For all of your practice, you can't function. You can't go, from point 1 to point 2 to point 3, on your own, or with the accompaniment or the support of another African American. The same thing is going to happen. And so we end up falling into the same kinds of traps where it becomes very easy and very convenient for us to dismiss one another, to attack one another, to fight one another, to tear one another down, even within the ranks of OrisaLifestyle, because just with the idea that this is going to win favor with another group of people, right? And it could be at the behest or with the manipulation. Sometimes the other groups of people are manipulating you to get you to become, to be fighting, to pit you against another African American. Sometimes you see it, and sometimes you're not aware of it until after the fact, and you realize, oh wow, I was a token. I got played right there, right? And so the more invested you are in really, taking control of your own journey, the easier it will be for you to make truly independent decisions that are beneficial not only to your well-being, but to the well-being of other African Americans who are arguably seeking the same thing. Because at the end of the day, you got to also do the math on what everybody is after. Everybody's got a motivation. They're dealing with you for a reason, right? It's not just that you got dimples. They're dealing with you because there's an advantage to dealing with you. You have something that they need. Okay, what is it that you have that other people need? And what are they offering you in exchange? Okay, and based on my experience over the years, we as African Americans tend to have the same realm or the same spectrum of needs. If we're dealing with the Cubans, or we're dealing with the Brazilians, or we're dealing with the Nigerians, there is a pattern, right? There's a tendency that we're really looking for a handful of things, right? And so it's crucial that we work together collectively to satisfy our needs in spite of any other practice. In spite of it, it doesn't matter. To me, it doesn't matter. That's why I coined the phrase OrisaLifestyle. To me, OrisaLifestyle cuts across. I don't care if you practice the Brazilian way or the Nigerian way or the Dahomian way or the Haitian way or the Trinidadian way. To me, it doesn't matter. To me, the most important thing is that you understand what you're trying to accomplish. You're very, very clear about what it is you're seeking, and you tap into that practice or that tradition in an explicit way to satisfy those needs in the best way for you and the people that you are destined to serve. And so I want to encourage you to, get clear, be crystal clear about what your true needs are, not necessarily what people are offering you, right? Because they could be offering you all kinds of things based on what they sell, right? But what is it that you're trying, or that you need? One of my favorite analogies is that that you need something sharp, okay? But that's all you need, right? If your level of clarity is that I know I need something sharp, well, you might meet one person who's offering you a machete, and another person who's offering you a needle, because they both know you need something sharp too. But a machete and a needle are entirely different tools. They do completely different things, right? And so they can tell you that, yeah, I'm helping you comply with your requirement by giving you something sharp. But you need to be real clear. You know what I'm doing, though? I'm trying to clear this field. That's what I really need to do. Is not only do I need something sharp, I need to clear this field, right? And that's going to allow you to be quicker about making your decisions and assessing who the people are around you and what they're truly offering you, okay? And then, to keep my analogy going, when you look around and you see that you are trying to clear a field, and this guy next to you is trying to clear a field, and she's trying to clear a field, and you notice that everybody is in the same place, we're trying to clear a field, but only 2 of you guys have machetes and the other 8 people have needles, right? Then it becomes more clear that there's a lot of people who need to get on the same page and start working towards what's truly going to solve our problem. So that's my insight for today. It's the lesson of the day. And I want to open it, up for conversation and dialogue. I want to know from you, what does this message mean to you? What is it that you think I'm talking about? How have you seen this play out in your practice, in your observation of Orisha lifestyle up to this point? Aboru aboye, aboshishe.